Well, a once-in-a-decade list of the brightest talents in poetry in the UK and Ireland has been unveiled. It's the so-called Next Generation Poets list, and it features writers who've published their first collections within the last 10 years. In a moment, I'll be speaking to Kate Tempest, who's here with me in the studio, who at 28 is the youngest name on the list. You might also recognise her from another recent news story, because yesterday she was nominated for a Mercury Music Prize for her album Everybody Down. Kate, now before we talk, we're going to listen to the new single from your album, Circles.
I got my hand on my heart, but my heart's in the gutter, talking to itself, starting to flutter when it thinks about yours, barking at mutts like a nutter, trying to start wars on the bus, dumb chunk of muscle with its claws out, throwing its swords out the dinghy in the middle of a gale, making whirlpools the way I chase my tail. I go round in circles, not graceful, not like dancers, not neatly, not like compass and pencil, more like a dog on a lead, like mental.
Fantastic. I mean, you're actually straddling poetry and music. How did you do it?
Well, never kind of intentionally. I was just making my work, as I continue to do, and I've been really fortunate in being encouraged and helped by, peers and different scenes and cultures like spoken word and also hip hop and music, and it's kind of been a really wonderful and fortuitous journey. But I never sat down and said, "Oh, I must straddle both poetry and music."
What's the difference between a poem and lyrics?
Well, as I develop in both of those areas, I start to see the differences much more completely. But I used to think they were the same thing, but I realise now that they're very different. And a poem is kind of still a quieter, well, not necessarily, but kind of lives. A poem belongs with its reader or listener and kind of lives in that space, whereas a song lyric belongs in this, with the singer, and with the song.
So how do you, when you sit down with your piece of paper or however you do it, how do you know what's going to come out?
Well, it depends if I'm writing for the page and for poetry stuff, or if I'm if I'm in the studio writing lyrics. But I couldn't really, there's no science to it, I'm just working it out.
You're very young, and a lot of people would probably say, poetry, is that cool?
Yeah, they probably would, yeah.
Is it cool?
No, I don't think it's that cool, but it's wonderful, and it speaks to me, it's my passion. And I think that for me, what's always been exciting about music is the lyrics. I really enjoy lyrics. I've always really got a kick out of words. So for me, poetry is a kind of very natural space. Now,
there are quite a few women on this list this year. How come that? Are you seeing within the poetry world that there are more women coming forward, or is it just even, or what do you think?
Well, it's not something that I really noticed, because, there's a lot of wonderful poets on the list, and for me, it's kind of almost a shame that we have to say that there are, oh, how exciting that there are more than half are women, how exciting. I kind of wish that we could get past that kind of thing and just let the poets on that list be poets rather than kind of women first.
How would you encourage other young people, male or female, to get into poetry?
I don't know. It's the kind of thing that you shouldn't encourage anyone to get into it. You will either find it because you want to find it and you love it, or the minute somebody tries to get you into poetry, you're probably going to foster a real dislike for poetry in that person. But I would just say to anybody to kind of follow your gut and listen to your friends and do what you love.
Which one do you prefer?
I don't really have a preference. I'm just trying to make my work, and I feel really excited by the different avenues that I work in. Music was my first love, and poetry I've kind of come to later, but I have a different relationship with it because of that.
So, being in both of these categories, both the poetry side and the Mercury Music Award as well, is phenomenal.
Very exciting.
What difference will that make to you? Obviously your profile will rise, but what difference will it make to you in your work?
Well, I'm here with you because of it, so lots of things like this are happening. But I mean, like awards and accolades, I'm not naive enough to think that this kind of thing can last. In any career there are peaks and troughs, and I'm really excited about where I'm at now. I've been working for over a decade on my stuff, and so I'm at this point where people are listening, but I will carry on making my work when everybody stops listening.
Well, it's really exciting, and we're really excited to meet you, and I know you're going to read for us, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a new one, so I've kind of got it written down. Usually
Is this
I memorise
the first time
It's an exclusive.
Excellent exclusive, we like that. Go on, what's it called?
It's called Fine Thanks. It's from a collection called Hold Your Own, which will be out in October. It says, to really see the state of things is lethal. Much safer just to see what we can bear. It's exhausting being fear-struck, howling, weak-willed. Much nicer to be bathing in the glare of all that we have built to shine and soothe us. What use are eyes at all in times like this? Please don't bother raising arms to shoot us. We'll shoot ourselves, no really, we insist. No guns, just give us brands and bills and wages and rent that takes our dignity away. Don't trouble yourselves with handcuffs or with cages. There's cleaner ways than that to make us pay. What good can come from listening to our instincts? You think it's easy putting up like this? Don't make a fuss, you know us, we're the English. And peace on earth won't help us feed our kids. Our eyes are trained on pinpricks in the blackness. The telly helps to end the dismal day. The visions come when we are at our weakest, but they don't last that long, so it's okay.
Kate Tempest, thank you very much.
Thanks
Really
for having
lovely
me.
to meet you. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.